Welcome to the fourth session of the Silmarillion Comments and Quotes. The first three sessions are on YouTube, or at least the first two. I'm not sure about the third, but we are recording the sessions for future reference. In fact, during the third session, Shannon Patrick was here and he was uh, telling us about some quote that later when he left, Willie and I were like, "Did you understand what he was saying?" Not really. We have to watch it again. I haven't, but we will. Okay, so now we are into chapter 11. Chapter 11 in the Silmarillion is about the sun and the moon and the hidden of Valinor. What has happened before is that I share my quote and then we all share the same quote. So what I've done is to choose more than one so we don't repeat ourselves. But I will say just comment and maybe Robert, you can then share a quote if you have one. Now that I see it in the book, it's only 4 pages. It looked longer when I was reading it. Probably because I was trying the second and third time to actually understand and try to link it to the sun and the moon and their movements, and how understand it that in that time the earth was flat, and I didn't get that from the first time I read it, but the second and the third a little bit more. And it's beautiful. I love the story of how the sun and the moon came to be, and I also hadn't realized that they weren't there before. I just hadn't. I suppose that as a human, I assumed that they were there. I hadn't understood that. Okay, then. Do you have any favorite quotes? I can look them up. Yes.
Okay. Um, so, like with almost everything in the Silmarillion, I think the whole chapter is quotable, but I will restrain myself and just start with um, the first paragraph and then the following sentence in chapter 11. It is told that after the flight of Melkor, the Valar sat long unmoved upon their thrones in the Ring of Doom, but they were not idle, as Feanor declared in the folly of his heart. For the Valar may work many things with thought rather than with hands, and without voices and silence they may hold counsel one with another. Thus they held vigil in the night of Valinor, and their thought passed back beyond Ea and forth to the end. Yet neither power nor wisdom assuaged their grief, and the knowing of evil in the hour of its being. And they mourned not more for the death of the trees than for the marring of Feanor. Of the works of Melkor, one of the most evil. For Feanor was made the mightiest in all parts of body and mind, in valor, in endurance, in beauty, in understanding, in skill, in strength, and in subtlety alike. Of all the children of Iluvatar, and a bright flame was in him. The works of wonder for the glory of Arda that he might otherwise have wrought only Manwe might in some measure conceive. And it was told by the Vanyar who held vigil with the Valar that when the messengers declared to Manwe the answers of Feanor to his heralds, Manwe wept and bowed his head. But at that last word of Feanor, that at the least the Noldor should do deeds to live in song forever, he raised his head, as one that hears a voice far off, and he said, So shall it be. Dear bought those songs shall be accounted, and yet shall be well bought, for the price could be no other. Thus even as Eru spoke to us, shall beauty not before conceived be brought into Ea, and evil yet be good to have been. But Mondo said, and yet remain evil. To me shall Feanor come soon. Right. Yeah, I really like that passage, but I'll be quiet.
Thank you. We have a flow of people coming, and let me introduce them to you, Robert. Well, for all the ends that are coming, thanks for coming. And I'm here with Luis and Robert. Robert is from Iowa, and I always enter the Iowa meetings uh, where we discuss the Lord of the Rings, and we are very much the same where we are in the ends reading in Spanish. Robert, these people are from a chat called the Chamber of the Ents, La Cámara de los Ents. Robert, the Entmoot, the council, I don't translate. Robert also speaks Spanish because his wife is a Mexican. Well, we usually read in Spanish, but we're also reading a little in English. And so I invited them, and they came. They all came. Thank you for coming. All right. We started with chapter 11 from the Lord of the Rings, no, from the Silmarillion. Sorry, I got excited. And we are sharing our favorite quotes. Chapter 11 is of the sun and the moon and the hiding of Valinor. And Robert has just read the first paragraph. I don't know if you guys have chosen any quotes from chapter 11. You can read them, and then, or if you have them, you can put it in the chat. If not, I find them and I put them in the chat so you can read. We can follow. Maybe Adriana?
Oh, I didn't choose any quote.
Okay.
I'm sorry.
All right. Don't worry, be happy. So what usually happened is that I started sharing my quote, and then it was Robert or someone else, and we always chose something similar. So that's why I'm letting you choose something, and then I will read something. And indeed, I had chosen one quote from that first paragraph of the sun and the moon, but a shorter part only. So I'm gonna read it, and Adri is gonna hate me for what I'm going to read.
Oh no.
Oh yeah.
We all know that it's not canon, so don't worry about it.
Oh well. I don't say it. It's the Silmarillion. Only this part about Feanor. For Feanor was made the mightiest in all parts of body and mind, in valor, in endurance, in beauty, in understanding, in skill, in strength, and its subtlety alike. Of all the children of Ilúvatar, it says, I don't say it, and a bright flame was in him. I'm just reading my favorite. I don't want to argue. No. Yeah, we're talking about now. Also, he died, so it's not fair that you guys hate him so much. The moon, the sun, and the moon. Does anyone else choose a quote? Maybe I have one more. well, I have a lot more, but I'm not gonna, I'm not gonna put them all because we said that only one. And it was Feanor, so I had to share him. Thank you. Okay, no more quotes. What do you guys think of this chapter? This chapter is about the sun and the moon. I was saying that it was hard for me to understand at first how they moved, even though I kind of understand how the sun and the moon move. But the air was flat, and so I didn't understand that at first reading English, but later after 2 or 3 times. But it's interesting. And also last week I was in a meeting with people from one catastrophe after another, says Robert. I was in a meeting with people from Hungary, basically, from the Tolkien mailing competition that I also always try to make people interested in. After the final round, we got together, and mostly people from Europe were there. And one of them, I think from Italy, I don't know, she was pregnant, and she told us that she was naming her child after the Maya that was in charge. It was a Maya, right? But it doesn't say here, but that's what they said, that was in charge of the sun, Arian. I had read this part, but I hadn't paid attention to those names yet, so now I can't forget them.
Is a boy or a girl?
A
Because
girl.
Aryan is the name of it's a Maya, so it's not a boy or girl, but it's usually represented as a woman.
Yeah, because they say it was the maiden. Yeah, exactly.
Yes.
And even
you're right.
there is one version where Morgoth, well, Melkor at the time, tried to rape her.
Another version?
Yes, an old one.
Oh my goodness. Yeah, I heard people talking about that. But in this version, Melkor doesn't even try to get near her. Right?
Well,
but powerful.
In this version, the Ainur are kind of non-sexual beings.
Yeah. Well, I'm not sure because there's Melia and also before they said it is said that they are male and female. They are, or that was Revala.
But it's about their personalities more
Yeah,
than
they could
more than
choose
essence.
their
Yes,
they choose what they were gonna look
and
like.
that is in the Silmarillion too.
Well, but the girl is well, the baby is a woman, Arian. It is a beautiful name. Okay. Robert said, and one catastrophe after another, because it's like how powerful or how mighty the trees should have been, right? If only like the only smallest thing that we can rescue for them are like the greatest things that we know now. I think that is pretty cool, to say the least. But well, I'll never get to see the trees, thanks to Melkor. Okay, so what? Chapter 12. Chapter 12 in the Silmarillion is of men. Although they don't really say much about men in the chapter of men. Really, I was expecting much more, and it's like 2 pages Oh, well, 3 pages, and that's it. Yeah, I know we are irrelevant, but in some ways, the sun and the moon are better, Robert. What do you mean?
Well, when you had the light of the two trees, it was really only Valinor that was lit, right? The rest of the world was pretty much in darkness. With the sun and the moon, all of Middle Earth now has light, right? Much more light than just the stars. So the light of the trees, yeah, the Valar and the elves who were present there preferred that, but a lot of the rest of the world was left in darkness. And so it's a eucatastrophe, right? You have this destruction of what was there before, and it was great, and in some ways greater than the sun and the moon. But in other ways, what comes out of it is, for much of the world, better than what had been there before, which is part of the definition of what a eucatastrophe is. And we also see that, like Morgoth's creatures, right, can't stand sunlight, so it greatly weakens them. They don't have as much power in Middle Earth after that because and Beleriand after that because they can't stand the sunlight. So that's what I was referring to.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. I like the part where we read that because the sun was there, then other things started to be, right? That they weren't there before. I don't know if it was in that chapter. I suppose it was. It was like, oh, these years are like really fast, unlike the years of the trees in which everything went so slowly, and now everything is hurrying, including
The
men.
count of the years was different.
Yeah, how was it the count of the years before?
144 sun days was a Valar year or something like that.
Because it was the days were like with the light of the trees, right? I never
Yes.
understood that part either. Well, they were longer.
Because he changed the formula a lot of times. So, but I think it was 144 sun days.
Some years. Some
Sunday years. Sun years. Sun years, exactly. Sun years, a Valar year.
Mhm. Okay. So going into men, I have also several quotes. So I'm counting on Robert for his quote first, and then I'll go with mine of men. The poor children. The second. If you're there.
Yeah, I like the list of names that the elves give to the men, so I'll read that part. At the first rising of the sun, the younger children of Iluvatar awoke in the land of Hildorian. Oh, and this is another consequence of the sun now existing, right? Anyway, they awoke in the land of Hildorian in the eastward regions of Middle Earth. But the first sun arose in the west, and the opening eyes of men were turned towards it, and their feet as they wandered over the earth for the most part strayed that way. The Atani, they were named by the Eldar the second people, but they called them also Hildor, the followers, and many other names. Apanonar, the afterborn, Ingwar, the sickly, and Firimar, the mortals. And they named them the usurpers, the strangers, and the inscrutable, the self-cursed, the heavy-handed, the night-fearers, the children of the sun. Of men little is told in these tales, which concern the eldest days before the waxing of mortals and the waning of the elves, save of those fathers of men, the Atanatari, who in the first years of the sun and moon wandered into the north of the world. I'll stop there.
Yes, indeed, that was the first quote I chose too. I love it. So many names. And maybe related to that, I want to say I will read almost the past, the last part, a small one, and I would like to hear what you think about this because I don't understand it. It says, in after days, when because of the triumph of Morgoth, elves and men became estranged, as he most wished, those of the elven race that lived still in Middle-earth waned and faded, and men usurped the sunlight. Why? Why does it say that? What do you mean that men usurpers, destroyers and usurpers? Men usurped the sunlight. Did they? How?
Because when men in this version, men are born with the sun, and with the mankind, um, the mankind's mortality was introduced in the world. So everything starts to changes rapidly, and the elves hate changes, so they leave.
Yes, Rodolfo says that we are the weakest. Yeah, but bitterness. But why? Many things, yeah, as David is saying, David, Jonathan, many things, many changes came with the sun, but it's not that men usurped it. Okay, you changed your name to Imlion. Yeah. Well, yeah. Men in general are the weakest in everything, I think. Not only that they can be corrupted. Not only that.
I think what it means by that men usurp the sunlight, I mean, it's related, but it is said before, right? That the urban race waned and faded. So they kind of started not to enjoy life in Middle Earth, not to enjoy sunlight in Middle Earth. So I think it's like a change of the timing, a change of time where men were kind of, how can I say, men started to be more relevant with the experience of being in Middle Earth, discovering, right, living, kind of enjoying also. But I mean, as Robert mentioned, he wrote Elven Bitterness. So they didn't enjoy, or they started not enjoying being in Middle Earth. That's, I think, kind of the theme there.
Yeah, maybe. We can only guess. And maybe it has to do with sorry, with the lies from Morgoth, right? Because that's what he was telling all the elves, that the Valar were gonna give everything to men or something like that. That there was some race that was gonna come that they didn't want the elves anymore or something like that. Maybe, I don't know, has to do because with something like that. Sorry, you were gonna say something, Eric.
No, I think that's the main idea, right? So they took something from the elves. What is this something? I think is the experience of living in Middle Earth, right? So the elves are not alone in Middle Earth. Middle Earth is not only for the elves. So that's, I think that's related with Robert just wrote about it.
Yeah, maybe. But I think they have nothing to be jealous of. Well, I'm going to read one more because I also like this quote, and then we're gonna move on to the next chapter. It's it's about men and Ulmo, because it says that men never knew the Valar, they were never called to Valinor, but there was Ulmo. Ulmo nonetheless took thought for them, aiding the counsel and will of Manwë, and his messages came often to them by stream and flood. But they have not skill in such matters, and still less had they in those days before they had mingled with the elves. Therefore they loved the waters, and their hearts were stirred, but they understood not the messages. I personally like this part a lot because I really like the sea, and I don't know, I also feel kind of drawn to it, but if there's a message, I don't get it. And I guess I won't. But I really like the being that closeness to water from men. Yay! Okay.
Yeah, yeah. But men, but men were more frail, more easily slain by weapon or mischance, and less easily healed, subject to sickness and many ills, and they grew old and died. What may befall their spirits after death, the earth know not. Some say that they too go to the halls of Mandos, but their place of waiting there is not that of the earth. And Mandos and the Ilúvatar alone, save Manwë, knows whither they go after the time of recollection in those silent halls beside the other sea. None have ever come back from the mansions of the dead, save only Beren, son of Barahir, whose hand had touched a Silmaril, but he never spoke afterward to mortal men. The fate of men after death, maybe, is not in the hands of the Valar, nor was all foretold in the music of the Ainur. Justo.
Yeah, all the paragraph. What do you like the most about this quote?
Is that we have an idea of what happens to the elves. We know they die, they go to Mandos, they can come back, you know, even to Middle Earth as Glorfindel. But we know nothing really about men. And the only one who may say something was forbidden to ever spoke to men again. So that is very, very human. You know? That belongs to this world where we have no idea what happened. I really like that. This part of the Tolkien was always trying to think about what the mortality was. It's a gift, it's a burden. What is mortality? Why are we mortal? Are we passing by? Is there something else?
When we know, we cannot tell.
And here he, at least I think for a lot of us, when we read the Silmarillion, is the first time we can read those ideas from him. Later on, we can read more stuff. No? But in the Hobbit and the Lord of the Rings, there's nothing about this.
Yes. Handari says, because we are the doomed, the cursed, the sick, the light thieves. etc., etc., etc. Xavier, thanks for joining us. We are doing chapters 11 to 14. We are right now in chapter 12 of Men. Do you have a quote you want to share with us, or your comments on the chapter?
More comments, because I read the Silmarillion in English like 2 or 3 years ago. I don't remember exactly. In Spanish, I remember. No. Man, this chapter is, I think Hilarion is very correct when he says that Tolkien really concerns himself about the nature of mortality. In that regard, I feel like this chapter in particular doesn't make justice to much from that. I mean, and that's of course because the Silmarillion at least is written from the perspectives of from the perspective of the elves mostly. So of course they don't understand the really what's the whole deal with the mortality of humans. And like I always felt that this particular part is the problematic one in the Silmarillion when you kind of get to the more um later writings of Tolkien when he was like um thinking a bit more of the natural part of his creation, more like the more than the mythological aspect. And that's when he thought, okay, if by the point that men reach Beleriand, they are already separated into 3 tribes with clear ethnic backgrounds and different language. 300 years is not enough for that split to happen. And nevertheless, I feel like on a thematic level, and the fact that men awoke and the first thing that they see is the sun, and these 3 peoples are in this journey to the west searching for that light. I think that theme of the search for the west, that is very, very, very beautiful and for me.
Sorry, what 3 people you're talking about?
The 3 houses of the Edain, the peoples of Beor, Hador, and Haleth. Yeah.
Okay.
That of course
we don't
we're
know
gonna meet later. Yeah.
about them.
Yeah, that's basically my comment.
Beautiful. Very
We
academic.
don't know that yet. We do.
No spoilers. In this chapter is when it's really clear that the Valar didn't care about the Atani. True. They were sobbing after the Noldor left and could not put it together. No, the Valar, not that the Valar didn't care.
Yeah, they don't care.
Wendy that didn't care, but the Valar, they did care.
They did not.
But not so much.
When the elves were in trouble, they marched on war. When the men were in trouble, they sent 5 old men.
Well, we don't know because the what happens after in the music, we don't know.
I mean, at least in the Silmarillion itself is like it's from it's it's kind of like the author leaves it to the reader's interpretation, right? So you can say, oh well, the Valar this and Valar that. Later on, he says like, yeah, that thing of getting away from Middle Earth and putting like a literal mountain of a wall of mountains in between you, a giant ocean. It's like, yeah, that was kind of a bad idea.
But there was a small. Yeah, okay. I'm not gonna defend them. All right. Let's go to, I think, the most interesting chapter from this 4 chapters of the return of the Noldor.
Woo!
Ay, ay, ay. Yeah, it's a mountain, but yeah, okay. I'm not gonna say anything. It was interesting. I understood that the 3rd time I read it again. I have to say, of the return of the Noldor. I want to say about Feanor. I wrote it. I made a note. Where's my phone? Wait, my phone's not here. I'll be back. 1 second.
I didn't know Gerald was such a Fëanor lover.
Oh, is she a Fëanor lover?
I think she is.
Oh god.
The cool kids are Fëanor lovers.
We all
Only cool
love
kids are
Fëanor.
Fëanor lovers.
We all love Fëanor.
No one likes Fëanor. No one.
We all love
We
Fëanor.
all like
Thank
it.
you. Thank you.
Like
Love
it.
Fëanor.
It's awesome.
No one's
Hey,
The
serious.
greatest guy who ever lived.
Fëanor, the greatest person ever created.
Hey, I'm offended. I'm offended. I'm
I'm,
Nathan. Nathan.
I'm not surprised.
They
Yeah,
don't
both.
mean that. They don't mean that. Only I mean it.
Yeah.
I want to say about the moment that Fëanor fought the Balrog.
Was killed by the Balrog.
Yes. And so my
So was Gandalf.
my thoughts are this: Fëanor fought a Balrog made of fire, and it was, and this is what happened to him. He was a fire, and in the end, he was consumed by his own fire
His own fire,
because
yeah.
his fire, which was the best of the best of the best,
Whoa.
had turned into wrath. That was a problem. It's the small detail that great fire turned into wrath. So basically, he destroyed himself with his own force. This is what I want.
I think he was always crazy.
Of course.
Yeah, but at least by the point where he writes to Tangorodrim, he's fucking crazy at that point. I mean, he's absolutely mad.
No F
Yeah,
word here, please. Thank you.
Oh, sorry. No, but when you think
Burning
about
the
it, by
ships.
when
Burning the
when
ships,
he
that's the
leaves
name.
the people of Ingolfin back in Valinor, and then he burns the ships and all of this, is like, yeah, the guy is kind of mad at that point, you know, a bit paranoid. When he gets to Middle Earth, he's absolutely mad.
Ah, Fëanor. Well, Robert, do you have a quote for us? Oh, Robert, you're supposed to be on my side. No.
You go first. I'm always stealing your quotes.
Okay, I will.
But somehow we choose the same ones. You go first.
But I have a lot. Let's see. The Return of the Noldor. Well, I suppose it's gotta be that part when he was mad. So any part. Oh no, this is the previous one that Imlarian read. Let me. God help me. Okay. Got it. He doesn't want to copy. I don't know what happened. All right. Of course not, because he was fire. And this is of Melkor, because he had been defeated. Yet, cause he had for great joy, though it was hidden from him for a while. For Fëanor, in his wrath against the enemy, would not halt, but pressed on behind the remnant of the orcs, thinking so to come at Morgoth himself, and he laughed aloud as he wielded his sword, rejoicing that he had dared the wrath of the Valar and the evils of the road, that he might see the hour of his vengeance. Nothing did he know of Angband or the great strength of defense that Morgoth had so swiftly prepared. But even had he known, it wouldn't have deterred him, for he was fey, consumed by the flame of his own wrath. Thus, it was that he drew far ahead of the van of his host, and seeing this, the servants of Morgoth turned to bay, and there issued from Angband Balrogs to aid them. There upon the confines of Dor Dai de Loth, the land of Morgoth, Feanor was surrounded, with few friends about him. Long he fought on, and undismayed, though he was wrapped in fire and wounded with many wounds. But at the last he was smitten to the ground by Gothmog, Lord of Balrogs. Not any Balrog, I want to say. Whom Ecthelion after slewing Gondolin, spoiler, there he would have perished, had not his sons in that moment come up with force to his aid, and the Balrogs left him and departed to Angband. This part was, I liked that because I was reading and I was like, there he would have been perished, so he didn't. No, but he did. It's really good. That's all I'm gonna say.
Meh.
Okay, you go, bro.
Adri is jealous of Feanor, I think.
I think I have a quote.
Go, please.
Can I share it?
Yeah.
Of course.
Okay, so this is when Fingolfin host arrives. At the uprising of the great light, the servants of no. Now rumor came to the camp in Heathland of the march of Fingolfin and those that followed him, who had crossed the grinding ice, and all of the world lay then in wonder at the coming of the moon. But as the host of Fingolfin marched into Mithrim, the sun rose, flaming in the west, and Fingolfin unfolded his blue and silver banners, and blew his horns, and flowers sprang beneath his marching feet, and the ages of the stars were ended. At the rising of the great light, the servants of Morgoth fled into Angband, and Fingolfin passed unopposed through the fastness of Dor Daelod, while his foes hid beneath the earth. Then the elves smote upon the gates of Angband, and the challenge of the trumpet shook the towers of Thangorodrim, and Maedhros heard them amid his trumpet, and cried aloud, but his voice was lost in the echoes of the stone. That's the quote. The arrival of Fingolfin to Middle Earth.
Beautiful.
Beautiful, yeah.
Yeah. Besides beautiful, what else would you say about it?
I mean, yeah, I mean, these. I always picture that at this moment Morgoth must have been in absolute fear, just shaking because, first of all, Feanor arrives and he knows that this guy is absolutely crazy. That's all. Okay, so that's kind of like, oh, okay, so things are not going as planned. Everything is fine. Then he sent his host to ambush the Noldor, and they get absolutely massacred. And like 10 minutes later, an even greater host arrives to his freaking doorstep to blow their trumpets. I mean, Morgoth must have been pissed and scared at that moment, absolutely livid. And the fact that Fingolfin actually led his people throughout all of that hardship. I mean, it also knows, so it says so much about the kind of leader that he and Turgon and Fingon and Finrod were. The fact that they managed to let all. I mean, that must have been a massive host. and to lead all the people throughout that perilous journey. God damn it, they must have been of great will to manage to do that, you know.
Yes, it's great. I do like Fingolfin, but I love him. That's all. Beautiful. Anyone else who wants to who wants to read a quote?
I have one.
Okay.
Uh, Now King Thingol welcomed not with a full heart the coming of so many princes, of so many again. Now King Thingol welcomed not with a full heart the coming of so many princes in might out of the west, eager for new realms, and he would not open his kingdom, nor remove its girdle of enchantment. For wise with the wisdom of Melian, he trusted not that the restraint of Morgoth would endure. Alone of the princes of the Noldor, those of Finarfin's house were suffered to pass within the confines of Doria, for they could claim close kinship with King Thingol himself, since their mother was Erwin of Alqualonde, always daughter. Well, it's longer than that, but I don't want to read it all. If somebody wants to, because everybody has read it already. But I like really this part where Thingol says, "Okay, I let you all princes of the Noldor live in Beleriand. I allow it, but remember, I am the king." And the Noldor are like, "What? Okay, if you say so." Keep hiding in your palace. We'll take what we want.
I mean, there's like literally like 3 paragraphs after, kind of freaking Caranthir just goes like, yeah, more. Let not the sons of Finarfin roam hither and thither with their tales to this dark elf in his caves, who made them our spokesman to deal with him. And though they be and though they become indeed to Beleriand, let them not swiftly forget that their father is a lord of the North. And you know, like there's this point, like I don't remember, I think it was Kelegor who said like, yes, who cares about that guy? He's just saying that we can get access to the lands that he doesn't even have power in, you know. And
Yeah.
that's true. I mean, I hate the Sons of Feanor, but at that moment, they are speaking the truth. You know, Tingle is giving them, in you know, in, let's say that he's giving them that particular land, but it's not like a highly populated land. It's not that he projects power over there. So you know, and it's true that at the end it was the princess of the Noldor who guarded all the passes to Beleriand, you know, and Doriath had peace because of the princess of the Noldor. Because at the end of the day, Thingol didn't do anything.
And he couldn't do anything.
Yeah, he couldn't. Yeah. That's also true, you know. But I
I
mean,
mean,
he's kind of a dick, you know.
if he says no, the Noldor cannot stay in Beleriand, what he was going to do?
Yeah, exactly.
He has no
What he could
power
do.
to
Yeah.
expel the Noldor from Beleriand. He can. His armies were nothing against the Noldor armies. I believe they even call him a dark elf.
A dark elf. Yeah.
They even call him a dark elf. It's like a mudlap, like a mudlap.
So nobody's gonna talk about Maedros.
Oh, Maedros is actually a cool guy.
I think she meant the fact that
He
this
maybe
is the chapter where Maedros is captured and it's saved by Fingon. I think he meant that. I think maybe I'm wrong. Maybe.
No, you're not wrong.
I think Maedros is the less hateable of all the
No, that's Maglor.
No.
Yeah, Maglor can suck it.
Yeah,
No.
that's Maglor.
At least Maedros saved Fingon.
What?
Fingon was saved by
Fingon saved Maedros.
Yeah,
exactly.
Fingon saved Maedros.
Fingon saved Maedros, and but he gave the crown to his uncle, so
Yeah,
that was a good thing to do.
Yeah, but also
he did.
After
he ended the feud. He ended the feud.
I almost give I gave a spoiler of the end. But
no, he ended the feud between the families. So I think that was great, a great thing to do.
No, but that thing Adri is saying is in this chapter.
Yes.
Yeah, you know, and I also find it kind of funny, you know, like he just got saved. He's without a hand, and then he reached Fingolfin like, okay, dude, I know that leaving you and crossing the ice was kind of a dick move. I'm sorry about that. So here you go. Have these horses.
One more thing.
Have the crown and
the Fëanorians, I don't know how to call it. They cannot start a war for the throne against Fingolfin. He had way more people. So if Maedros chooses to keep the crown for himself, he must fight Fingolfin, and he was in opposition.
I don't think so. Fingolfin was loyal to Fëanor after all.
Yeah.
To Fëanor.
Yeah, he made a note. He made a note as well.
He made a note. He would follow him, and Fingon was his heir.
Yeah, but Fëanor was already dead. His people suffered in the crossing. I mean, they were not going to take. I don't think Fingolfin people will let him let Maedros keep the crown, a title. Yes.
But Fingolfin made an oath, and he was very loyal.
I think you think too much of that guy.
No.
You think too much of that guy.
I only speak the truth.
He made a note. Yeah.
But we don't know. Let's not talk about what would have happened. Let's talk about what happened.
Okay.
This is what you guys were just saying. What Maedros did. Maedros begged forgiveness for the desertion in Naraman, and he waived his claim to kinship over all the Noldor saying to Fingolfin, if there lay no grievance between us, Lord, still the kinship would rightly come to you, the eldest here of the House of Finwë.
Exactly. He knew it was wrong what they did with the ships. So
I mean,
it was a form of redemption for him.
Yeah, and that's Maedros at least, because his brothers are absolute. Oh my God, those guys are so
but
much.
To this, his brothers did not all in their hearts agree. Yeah, but that's another story.
I think maybe Carandir and another one were not agree that.
They didn't like that decision of Maedros.
No, I mean that's the thing, you know. I don't think they really even regret leaving their people in.
That's
in
because they weren't hanging from the wrists.
Exactly, you know, they didn't expect 40 years hanging from the wrist in freaking Sangorodrin.
Exactly.
I mean, that's quite a while to think. That was kind of a bad move.
He had a lot of time to think of what he have done.
and the rescue of him was beautiful, involving the singing, involving the eagles. God, I mean, it's like we could make a movie about only that part. I mean, no.
Yeah, that part.
Peter Jackson will make 3 movies, but
don't give ideas, because this soon may leak, not to Peter Jackson.
Will be published. But it's a beautiful story how he saves him.
It is. It is the best part of that chapter for me.
So you read it. I'll put it for you to read.
Okay.
Okay. Let's see if we find it. Here, I think. Starting. Okay. Starting when he wants to save him, right?
Okay.
My copy paste. Fëanor would. What would Fëanor say? Okay.
Oh, that's from long before. Long before, in the bliss of Valinor, before Melkor was unchanged, or lies came between them, Fingon had been close in friendship with Maedhros. And though he knew not yet that Maedhros had not forgotten him at the burning of the ships, the thought of their ancient friendship stung his heart. Therefore, he dared a deed which is justly renowned among the feats of the princes of the Noldor. Alone and without the counsel of any, he set forth in search of Maedhros, and aided by the very darkness that Morgoth had made, he came, unseen, into the fastness of his foes. High upon the shoulders of Tangorodrim he climbed, and looked in despair upon the desolation of the land. But no passage of crevice could he find through which he might come within Morgoth's stronghold. Then, in defiance of the orcs who cowered still in the dark vaults beneath the earth, he took his harp and sang a song of Valinor and the Noldor made of old. Before strife was born among the sons of Finwë, and his voice rang in the mournful hollows that had never heard before, outsave cries of fear and woe. He sang a song. Thus Fingon found what he sought, for suddenly above him, far and faint, his song was taken up, and a voice answering called to him. Maedhros it was that sang amid his torment, but Fingon climbed to the foot of the precipice where his kinsman hung, and then could go no further, and he wept when he saw the cruel device of Morgoth. Maedhros, therefore, begging in anguish, without hope, begged Fingon to shoot him with his bow. And Fingon strung an arrow and bent his bow. And seeing no better hope, he cried to Manwë, saying, O king, to whom all beards are dear, speed now this feathered shaft, and recall some pity for the Noldor in their need. His prayer was answered swiftly, for Manwë, to whom all beards are dear, and to whom they bring news upon Taniquetil from Middle-earth, had sent for the race of eagles, commanding them to dwell in the crags of the north, and to keep and to keep watch upon Morgoth, for Manwë still had pity for the exiled elves. And the eagles brought news of much that passed in those days to the sad ears of Manwë. Now, even as Fingon bent his bow, there flew down from the high airs Thorondor, king of eagles, mightiest of all birds that have ever been, whose outstretched wings spanned 30 fathoms. And staying Fingon's hand, he took him up and bore him to the face of the rock where Maedhros hung. But Fingon could not release the hell-wrought bond upon his breast, not sever it, not draw it from the stone. Again, therefore, in his pain, Maedhros begged that he would slay him, but Fingon cut off his hand above the wrist, and Thorondor bore them back to Mithrim.
And then he was healed.
Por favor. Please, no more.
No, it's beautiful.
It's beautiful. It's beautiful. Everything. He sang a song that Tolkien
A love
loved
song.
songs. Tolkien loved songs.
Obviously. Okay. Any
And
other
all discussion in in the SCP about what happened with Maedro's hand.
Stay there.
The discussion
Fall
was
down
like,
to
what?
or fall down to.
The discussion was, can his hand grow back? Or Earth can grow back?
No.
Or no?
No.
What kind of person is that?
They are not reptiles.
He's an elf. He's not Deadpool or Wolverine. I don't know.
No, there it says that he could fight better with his other hand.
That he actually became more deadly with his left hand.
Became more deadly.
I know what it says. I'm just telling you that this was an old discussion in the. I mean, I'm talking about. We talked about this a couple of times, like 17 years ago.
What kind of people are you hanging out with?
Drunk Tolkien. Do you think maybe his hand grew back, but was a weak hand, so he had to fight with his left hand?
No.
Or maybe his body grew back from the hand that was hanging.
And there were two Maedros.
There were two Maedros.
And there were two Maedros.
I swear, these were the things we were talking about almost 20 years ago.
You need new friends. You need new friends.
Yeah, what kind of discussion is that?
But surely they will find something in the nature of Middle Earth to back it up.
Yeah, something like that.
And to say it's canon.
Yeah.
Just one word.
Tolkien never said that the elves cannot grow back parts of their body.
That logic, according to that logic,
it's an open discussion. It's open.
In consequence, it could have happened. Okay.
Yeah, according to that logic, everything that Tolkien didn't say could have been real. It happened.
Obviously. Okay. Should we move on to chapter 14 of Beleriand and its realms? Because I have a Kahoot.
Oh. Ooh.
Always. And this time there are people to play it. Yay!
Of Beleriand and its realms.
You have to do that, Gerald, when you
That's
have
the chapter which you need the map, you know.
Come to read with us and remind us about this meeting.
Yes. So I think like a month ago I started reading this, and I was taking pictures in the group to show you what I was reading, and that I can tell Feanor from Fingolfin, and that's my greatest achievement. And I can say Maedros is Feanor's son, so that's like a lot. So I read this because I had time, so I read it 2 or 3 times, but I haven't read it with a map. So
what? That's the way to read it.
Oh, I mean, that's kind of the way you need to do it.
That's the only way to
actually kind of get an idea in your head.
Understand it.
The only way of understanding. But you can understand some things without the map. Like that some things are north, south, and there's a lake, and there are some people there.
Yes, it's very descriptive. So
I mean, it actually describes the geography of Beleriand in quite a big detail. You know, it kind of gives, you know,
thanks for coming. And it was hard to find a quote to share that doesn't describe something, because it also describes some of the nature, which, I mean, I have been Googling some of the...
I mean, this, I always thought I mean, I
where
personally I think
everyone
this
lived.
part is like for the world building people, you know. I'm one of those, you know. I really like, you know, getting to know the geography of the places, where the people live, how the people live. I mean, I personally like that.
Yeah,
So
That chapter is
I
absolutely.
only
really
that
like this
where
chapter
people
actually, you
lived.
know. It's
You get a
That's the
really
only
good
way to
idea
know that
of the map.
Melkor was surrounded by this chapter.
yeah, exactly, you know. I mean, they like to make a small ay, ¿cómo se dice resumen? No sé.
Summary.
A small summary, thanks. That's the word.
Resumation.
Resumation, yeah, to make a small resumation. Basically, Fingolfin and his people are dwelling in the northwest.
Yes.
Southwest Beleriand is the house of Finarfin. Finrod is basically the lord of almost all West Beleriand, except for the coast. That's where Círdan and his people live. Um, Central North Beleriand is also the house of Finarfin, and East Beleriand is the house of Feanor, basically. And
Where's
like
Neverest?
Nebrast is where
Northwest.
Turgon live. That's
On the
the
left.
house of Ingolfin in the west.
Because I get confused when they talk about. I mean, I get confused in all the chapter, but particularly in a part when they mention someone traveling from like an island. So I'm like, what is this?
Island.
Yeah, or I was just inventing, I guess.
No, there is no island in that chapter at all.
I
It's
mean,
just
Maybe I
Beleriand.
get confused with
perhaps
Tol Eressëa, which is an
The
island,
shores
and there is
maybe some
perhaps you are confusing with Tolsirion.
yeah.
Tolsirion was an island, yeah,
Yeah,
and
but
that's
it's
where
the
Finrod built
the
their
Isle of
fortress.
Tolsirion, yes.
Yeah, that's where Finrod built his first fortress, Minas Tirith, to make things a bit more confusing.
Yeah, I'm like, I don't think this is the same series.
Yeah, it's not the same
no,
Minas Tirith,
that's
yeah.
the first one.
The
That's
first
the
Minas Tirith.
original.
Yeah, the thing is that basically
Jonathan,
what
you're
they're doing
muted.
is
You're talking to us.
basically, I mean, what the Noldor are doing is basically settling in the parts that are the passes to Beleriand proper, you know. So these aren't cities, like places like Baradeithel and Minas Tirith, Himring. They are fortresses, big fortresses, yeah. But the people live like behind those. Like for example, the people of Ingolfin live in near the shores of Lake Mithrin. But the fortress itself is in the mountains of Eretwethrin. That's where Baradeithel is. So the idea is that basically you have this protection from Angband, you know, and um, Tolsirion, for example, is an island that is right in the middle of Beleriand, you know. And when you fortify that,
It's
you
in the
basically
river,
control
not in the
the
ocean.
passes to Western Beleriand. So you can make a defense there, basically. That's the idea, that you can defend these places, and you know, if they fall, that's it, you know. Then the orcs come in and they will slew everyone. So that's what they were trying to avoid, you know, by defending these places.
So you're saying it's a river.
Tolsirion is
Yeah.
an island in a river, not in the
Exactly.
ocean.
Not in the ocean, yeah. It's in a river.
It's like previously we've been reading the Return of the King, and they mentioned Kairandros.
Exactly.
Kairandros is a fortress in an island that is in the Anduin.
Exactly.
The river Anduin. It's not in the ocean. So it's a fortress to protect the cross of the river.
Exactly, you know, that's the point, you know, that the orcs won't cross the mountains, won't cross the rivers. So that's what they're doing, basically, defending the passes to Beleriand proper.
And in the picture with Ron's brothers.
Ambros and Ambras. But that's well explained.
Yeah,
I'm
that's
sure
actually a
you can
good,
understand it like
a
that.
good picture, you know.
What?
Okay. And where is Tol The Tol.
Tol Sirion is where Finrod picture is. That's Tol Sirion.
Finrod. Okay.
Yeah. So you basically had the Eret Wethrin, that's the mountains of Hithlum, right? Then you go a bit east, and there's another mountain range, right? That's Dorthonion and the mountains of Gondolin. Right in the middle of that is where the river Sirion is. Yeah. So you basically have this empty land between the mountains, right? Tall Sirion is right in the middle of those, so that's why they build a fortress there as well.
Yeah, I also got confused because I was asking where Nebras was because they mentioned Vinyamar, and I think I'm confusing with Fanyamar. So yeah, of course I confuse everything. But
it is confusing. It's not that easy.
I chose a quote, which is one part that I can almost picture. You know,
Okay.
or more or less, like I feel this a nice place, like maybe it's this. That region was named Ailin Uyal. You'll tell me where that is. The Twilight Meres, which are lakes. For they were wrapped in mists, and the enchantment of Doriath lay over them. Now all the northern part of Beleriand sloped southward to this point, and then for a while was plain, and the flood of Sirion was stayed. But south of Ailin Uyal, the land fell suddenly and steeply, and at the lower fields of Sirionka were divided from the upper fields by this fall, which to one looking from the south northward appear as an endless chain of hills running from Eglarest beyond Narog in the west of Amun Ereb in the east, within far side of Gelion. Sounds nice.
Yeah, it sounds nice.
Not sure where I am, but from your map.
Twilight Mirrors. Where? Oh, I don't know where that is. Twilight Mirrors. But he mentions Eglarest. Also, this is West Beleriand.
Yes, it's West Beleriand.
Eglarest. Okay, I found it.
So what basically what is telling you is that there's a like this part that if you see it on plain sight is like you will see an endless field, right?
Yes, like a chain of hills.
Yeah. I know where that is. Okay. Yeah, basically, yeah, that's West Beleriand. You know this part. Okay.
Do you have a quote from this chapter?
From this chapter.
Wait.
I think I have one that is quite nice. And this is concerning Nebrast. Okay. It was a hollow land surrounded by mountains and a great coast cliff higher than the plains behind, and no river flowed thence. And there was a great mere in the midst of Nebras, with no certain shores, being encircled by wide marshes. Linaewen was the name of that mere, because of the multitude of birds that dwell there, as such as love tall reeds and shallow pools. At the coming of the Noldor, many of the great elves live in Nebras near to the coast, and especially about Mount Taras in the southwest. For to that place, Ulmo and Ose had been wont to come in days of old. All the people took Turgon for their lord, and the mingling of the Noldor and the Sindan came to pass soonest there. And Turgon dwelt long in those halls that he named Vinyamar, under Mount Taras, beside the sea.
Oh, I know we're talking about the West.
Yeah, this is West Beleriand, yeah. So what I actually like is the fact that he mentions that this is the first region where the Noldor and the Sindar are actually mixing, you know? So it's not like they are a completely separated people yet. So there's actually this cultural and ethnic exchange between them. So we later see, for example, I think it was Borongwe in the story of Tuor. Like this guy, his dad is a high elf, but his mother is a Sindar elf, and we kind of see that in many places. It's both novels and common folk are actually mixing. So later on, you have these people that are of mixed origin. So that's something I actually like. Seeing these the world building that he's doing here. Like telling you they they weren't like they have their difference, but they also mix. Like Gilgalad later on, the last king of the Noldor is actually of a Sindar mother as well. He had gray hair even. He looked more like a Sindar even. So even like later on, there's a rift between the Noldor and the Sindar. At least at the beginning, they are actually mixing with each other. And the Noldor learned the language of the Sindar really fast, and that's end up being like the common Elven tongues in Darin. So I actually really like this part. That he actually tells you this is the first region where that mixing came. And the scene that also took like Noldor rulers and all of this. I really like this part.
I think it's interesting the point you're making, because in one of the previous chapters, in the chapter of men, when they're saying how different are men from elves, is how different Sindar are from the high elves,
yeah,
from the Noldor. So it's elf. They are elves, but they're elves and they're elves.
Exactly.
So yeah, and
yeah, like it's not only language. It's the fact like the Noldor are a bit taller generally, and they tend to have darker hair. And what I mean is there's a part where he says, like, oh, the Noldor prefer the plains and
You want to talk
the
about the
lower
weapons?
hills
Say
to
it.
build their settlements, but like the Sindar prefer the rivers and the forest. And like the only way that you could tell an apart from an Noldor from a Sindar was the rise, because the Noldor saw the light of the two trees, and that gives him this magical, it's vaguely described magical glow in their eyes. Vaguely described magic is what I what I refer to this.
Vaguely.
yeah, excellent. Imlarion, do you have another quote? Or Jonathan? Or you were just messing with us?
What? No, no. No, no.
Okay. Right.
That's a heavy chapter. Very heavy.
Yes.
I think it's the heaviest of all. More than Ainulindale or Palacuenta.
Wait, what's wrong with you? Linda and Balacuenta are not heavy.
The one that I really don't like is the one of the sun and the moon. That's like, oh, come on, I don't care which Maya gives him. He goes around with the moon, and I don't care.
Wait, you don't like the moon?
Like he could have that chapter could be 2 paragraphs long, but it's actually like 4 or 6 pages.
No, it's
Come on, man.
beautiful.
I don't need to know that.
I want to say also that in the last task of the Tolkien mailing competition, I mean, this year the competition was really tough. I finished it because it was a miracle, but the last task was to make a story very much like Ainu Indale, of how something from nature came to be, just like Tolkien does, because it's so easy to come up with things like that.
Yeah, right.
And not one, choose 5 things and how they came to be, from the way they were in the music until they were done in real life.
Yeah.
I do like writing, so I did do that, but man, it was tough. I'm gonna send you my writing.
Sure.
Okay, so any other comments, or we go to the Kahoot? You said it.
I mean, to like I said, for me at least, this chapter is not as heavy. But I think I get why people would get lost in this because you actually began like,
It's
oh,
very
what the
descriptive.
hell
If you
is he
don't like
talking about?
that, if you're more into action and really the plot of the story is not like the favorite chapter of anyone.
Yeah,
But you're
I
weird,
mean,
so it's
but
okay.
I mean, this is kind of important to get, where the people live, why do they live there, and
Yeah,
later on,
see,
it's
it's
kind of
world building.
it's world building,
It is important.
just to get to know
It's
what
very
this place
important,
looks like.
but there isn't any plot, so it's easy to get lost in the chapter.
Yeah, exactly, because this is basically describing all the land.
Yeah, it's true.
And
Also,
it's
you would
funny,
need
even
on
when
East
there's plot,
Valerian
you can get lost.
map 3.a. That also would be helpful.
Yeah, I mean, in the physical version, you at least have a map at the end of this chapter. Like, oh, okay.
It is perfect. It is perfect. That map is
And
just
those
perfect.
maps that open no, I think Ari, you have that map that
Depends
opens.
on the edition you have, but
Oh yeah, I kind of get what you're saying. Like for example, the book finished describing Heathloom, and then you have a map of freaking Heathloom. You say, oh, so he's describing this. Okay, I get it.
And
Instead of
also,
having the one map
it
at the
should
end.
have been at the first page of the chapter.
Yeah, yeah. The map should be at the first page. Yeah.
Personally, I mean, I know that my least developed kind of memory is the spatial one. So I normally need, a map, but I was trying to do it without a map, but okay. Who am I kidding? I don't get anything. I'll do it with a map next time. Thank you. All right. All right. Let's do it.
Are we doing the Kahoot now?
Of course.
Of course.
Good.
Let's do it.
Let's take
I think I have to share my screen
because I didn't read any of the chapters.
Oh,
I erased the app.
I added one question about this chapter, so I don't know if I did it correctly. So please, Javier, you say if the question is correct or not.
Okay.
Basically, I usually try to just follow the exact words from the book, but not even that is.
It's helpful in this part.
Do you have the pin? Okay.
Pin.
No, that is.
Okay.
It's better if you do it into like in your cell phone and in your computer, right?
What's the link for it?
I put it in the chat, didn't I?
Yes, the link is in the chat.
Oh, okay. Okay.
And yes, Xavi is the same.
Okay.
Cell phone. I do it in my cell phone because when I do it in my computer, I have the Zoom in the computer now. Mm-hmm. In that change, my internet
slows down. Yeah, slows down.
Slows down. I can lose.
Oh, I missed it. I missed an A in my name.
Shame on you. You can re-enter if you want.
No, it's okay. It's Alacea.
And what does it mean?
My name, Adriana Alegre.
Okay, Handarie, Imlarion, Marco. Erix, are you coming? Are you there?
He hates us.
Yeah, he hates us. I mean, just because you have a child, that's no reason to leave us. I can go to bed alone.
Yeah, set up your priorities.
Okay.
He doesn't like the new people.
Eric, Gereny is here. Gereny, you're Amroth, right?
Yes, he's Amrod, as far as I know.
Gereny is here, so he hates us.
Yeah, he
hates-
actually
He
hates
hates
the,
us.
The,
Exactly.
the Enmut. He
Yeah, he
hates
hates
the
the Enmut.
Enmut.
No.
What I came to learn here. Well,
Jonathan
well,
Barrow Reiner.
well.
I don't know if Rodolfo is here. Rodolfo, are you with us still?
He hates us too.
Yeah.
Nobody likes the new kids.
Yes, Rodolfo, you
Everybody
come
hates.
to the Kahoot to play. Come on, come in.
Gereny, I'm hard after all the Chayanne stickers we shared together.
River flying crab, you know. Remember all those times that we stay awoke like until 5 p.m., you know? Forget it.
Do you guys remember when Jeremy liked us?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Hey.
Good times.
Record like
Good
the things
times.
that we
Those old
special things that we
times.
need. Jeremy always record them, you know.
Gereny, you're not in the ends anymore?
No, he hates us.
No, I have
hated us.
classes
He
Thursday
despises us.
from 7 to 10.
Right.
But he enters here.
Yeah, because my
When he finish his classes, he enters here, not the end.
Yes. Don't you think we're going to forget this?
No.
For a second.
Okay, I think we're gonna start.
This is going to be a gossip in the end mood, I think.
I'm not gonna forgive Gerald for saying the Chamber of the Ants.
The Chamber
That
of the
sounded like
It's your fault because you're talking about Harry Potter.
Harry Potter and the Chamber of the Ants.
Harry Potter and the Enmut.
That's how you
The
do
Chamber
it.
of the
Yeah,
Ants.
The Chamber of the Ants.
It's not my fault that the name of the group is in Spanish.
Oh,
sorry.
I'm sorry. I'm really
sorry, Miss Gerald.
Sorry, no.
Change the name now.
Sorry, not sorry. Sorry, not sorry.
Sorry, like a
People
Latina.
get mad in that group because we started to read in English, you know?
Oh,
yeah,
If the name was in English.
Yeah. Oh, wait.
Oh.
For Feanor was made the mightiest in all except valor, strength, understanding, malice. You know, I did this on purpose.
I know. Yeah. And I love it. Because I got one right. I got one right.
He's not bad. He's the mightiest in valor, understanding, strength, skill.
I know why these haters, they must be on purpose.
I hate Banner.
They choose to lose.
They prefer to lose rather than to accept that Feanor is the best.
They choose to
the great one.
Over.
Oh yeah, baby. Got you there.
Marco, very good. Imlarion, excellent. Handari, Amrod, Javi, haters.
Handari has a lot to learn about our Lord Feanor.
Okay. Okay, next.
I'm ready to miss all the next ones.
True or false? Before dying, Telperion bore upon a leafless bough one great flower of silver, and Laureline a single fruit of gold. True or false? Telperion, flower of silver, Laureline, single
Damn
fruit
it.
of gold.
Yay.
All right.
A mí me sale como verdadero.
True, Dad. Rodolfo is playing via chat, so 1 point for him.
All right. It comes. It comes.
Oh, wow. Mark still the best.
Thanks, Fëanor.
Next question.
Our Lord and Savior.
The great one, the chosen one.
Which is a name given to the moon? Isil, Anar, Rana, Fasa.
That's quite obvious.
Well, you came late because you were reading and that.
Yay.
Wow,
Still, I knew that.
the others are for the sun, if I'm not mistaken.
Isildur. That's what the Isil means.
And that's in your favorite chapter, you see?
Rana is not for the moon.
Sorry?
Rana is not for the moon.
No.
It's because of the frogs.
The frogs need sunlight. Yeah, no, okay.
Someone play the drum.
Ooh, Imlarion is on fire. Like Fëanor. Next. Which is correct? Morgoth assailed Arien. Arien was wayward and uncertain in speed. Tilion shall ever be drawn towards Arien. Tilion had traversed the heaven 3 times before Arien was made ready.
All of them.
Yeah, no, this chapter.
I didn't know this.
Yeah, no, I can remember.
You came late.
Yeah, I saw that too. Yeah.
So Morgoth, Imlarion knew this, assailed not Arien, but Tilion.
Tilion, yeah.
Yes. When I was writing, I also wrote Tilion, and I said, oh no, it's not Tilion, it's Tilion. Arwen was wayward. No, this is Tilion that moved unpredictably like the moon does. And Tilion appeared first, but it had traversed the heaven 7 times before Arien was made ready. And Tilion shall ever be drawn towards Arien. That is why there's an eclipse.
Yes.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I forgot everything about that chapter.
Don't worry. Next chapter. Handari is 3rd now, thanks to Arien. True or false? Men awoke at the first rising of the moon. Okay. Obviously not at the first rising of the sun.
Which is not true, but okay.
It's not true, but it's what it says in the Silmarillion. And
according to the Silmarillion.
According to the Silmarillion, chapters 11 to 14, of course. Why? What does the other source say?
Early on.
Way before
the sun.
Way before. Way before the sun and the moon, yeah.
Okay. But not at the first rising of the moon, so.
No, even way before.
Okay.
A little later than the others.
I don't think so. Yes, Rodolfo. According to the Silmarillion that we are reading, this edition. I'm gonna say it. Handaria la CA is on fire.
Like Fëanor.
Yes, thank you. The younger children of Ilúvatar awoke in the north, south, east, west.
Them.
I bet Javi knows.
How do you say Tin Marín in English?
Eeny, meeny, miny, mo.
Oh,
Exactly.
Uh-huh.
That one.
Uh-huh.
That
oh,
one.
I got it. Damn.
Men of the South is a quote from from nowhere, from the East. Okay.
Swarthy men from the east.
The younger children, nobody saw this.
Oh, children.
Oh, my eyes blind.
Oh, yeah.
Children.
I'm gonna report you.
Of
Children of
Illuminati.
Hooting.
The children of Hurin.
She loves Feanor and she's on fire. True or false? Men are mortal. None have ever come back from the mansions of the dead. We read this part.
Not even Eowyn.
What is this? A tie between true or false? We read. None have ever come back from the mansions of the dead.
That's false. Benedict.
Except
Beren, son of Barahir.
Beren.
Indeed.
I forgot about Beren.
It's because it's a spoiler alert next chapters. We haven't read that part yet. Oh, and Himmlerian is the first time. Marco, what happened?
I don't know.
And Amroth coming there. Next. Question 8. The second battle of the Wars of Beleriand. The Dagor Bragolak. The Dagor Aglareth. The Dagor Nuingiliath. The Nirnaeth Arnuediat.
No, fuck, of course it's not. God damn it.
Solo yes, that's right.
Oh god, I forgot. That's not the second battle. Yes, that's the third.
Circle. Rodolfo got it right.
Someone got it right?
Rodolfo, our friend in the chat. Obviously, I did this looking at the books because I had no idea. But
yes, of course. The battle under
I can't believe I missed that.
So this is the one from Feanor's people, right?
Yeah, this is the one where they get ambushed and they still manage to kick the ass of the orcs. Yeah.
Yes, the first battle is before the Noldor.
Before the arrival of the Noldor.
Exactly.
Before the Noldor.
Yes, yes.
That's when Thingol makes one of the biggest, perhaps the biggest dick move in the history of Middle Earth.
We all missed it.
Which one?
We all missed it.
It's when Thingol and Melian put the girdle over Doriath, and Thingol decides to just abandon Círdan and his people to be massacred. You know, like a true hero.
Like a true king.
Like a
champion. Exactly, like a true king will do. Just abandon your people to be fucking massacred. I love you, Thingol.
How awful. Okay, let's go. Oh, what happened? Nothing moved.
Nothing moved.
Because nobody got it right. Rodolfo is the first. So, round 3, players lost
Thank
their
you,
answers.
Rodolfo, for not playing. He was the first.
Sorry. Question 9. Feanor was smitten to the ground by Morgoth, Gothmog, Glaurung, Fingolfin. Okay, Fingolfin lovers.
He wished, Fingolfin wished that.
Gothmog, that is right.
Of course, the great.
Glaurung is the dragon, I think, right?
Yeah.
That we see later. Okay, very good, very good. The lore of the Balrogs, that is correct, Rodolfo. Okay, and that is coming back. Let's see. Question 10. Fingolfin, your friend, did not cross the grinding ice, think that Angband would fall to the sound of trumpets only, make his first gammon dwelling by the northern shores of Lake Mithrim, or make a great feast after 20 years of the sun had passed. Very good, Rodolfo, and most of you. He didn't think that Angband would fall to the sound of trumpets only. Trumpets. Those are another kind of trumpets. Very good, very good. He made a great feast after 20 years of the sun had passed. In fact, he did. And of course, he crossed the grinding ice with the lady of the hills.
Oh, right, Galadriel.
Trepando un cerro.
Okay. Aha, Handaria Lasea is coming. Coming for it. 3 questions left. True or false? Fingon was Maedro's brother. You see, this is what I'm learning. Fingon was Maedro's brother.
In his heart, he was.
In his heart, I was going to say the same.
It's his cousin.
It's his boyfriend. No, just kidding.
Cousin, that's correct. Please, this is not the children of Huri. Very good, but same positions. Come on, Marco. I know you can climb back up. 12. The Dagor Aglareb was the third battle in the Wars of Beleriand. I mean, I don't know, but you should.
Oh, got it.
A glorious battle. It was so glorious that it has like 4 lines of description.
Yeah, like 2, I think. Like 2, I guess. Yeah, the glorious battle. And then there is another battle that they say, this battle was amazing, but it wasn't so good, so we didn't even count it.
It was quite small, so it's not counted among the great battles.
Yeah. How awful.
Imagine just miss those 2 lines.
And that's like one of the great, that's like the greatest victory of the Noldor in all of the war, you know.
Exactly. The third battle?
Yeah, the third battle. That's why
glorious
it's the glorious battle, you know, yeah.
Yeah.
When Morgoth thought that they were, he was gonna get them from the south or
from the north, yeah, like
from the north.
He came from the north.
He basically sends like quite a few orc forces to distract the main forces of the Noldor. It turns out that many do, but the main assault is in Dorthonion, like right in the middle. So Maedhros and Fingolfin come from the east and the west, and they fall in the rear guard of that main attack and absolutely crush the orcs, like absolutely crush. Like
it's
if
like
they get
the orcs don't never stand a chance against any elves.
Yeah, orcs didn't make the cut, you know. That's why he later comes out with the idea of dragons and trolls and wolves.
Yeah. Okay. I think this is gonna be it. We have one more question. Are you ready?
Go.
Which dwelling is correct? I don't know. Fingolfin's folk dwelled mostly in Mithrim. Turgon dwelled in Dorlomin. Finrod dwelled in Nebrest. Maedhros dwelled in Doriath.
I don't know, man.
That means 12.
Got it right. I know.
Yeah, I hope. Yes.
I saw.
Fingolfin.
Well, in 13 Minas Tirith.
It took me some time.
The thing is that I don't know who Fingolfin's folk are. It's just what the book says, because I suppose that there's
part of the Noldor. A big part of the Noldor were Fingolfin's folk.
Yeah, indeed.
Okay, and the others, well, I got that they weren't where they should be. Okay, so podium, third place. Andariela Sea, thank you. If you just love, hi, second and first. I'm Larry.
I'm so mad that I missed the second Battle of Beleriand.
Yeah, I also got that wrong, Gadri.
Yes.
No one get that right. No one.
No one got that right. Very good. Thank you very much for participating. You can pick
No.
up your prizes from the. You can pick any prize you want. It's virtual, so nobody's gonna claim anything. Thank you. Well played. This is a difficult questions. 3 difficult questions. The second battle on the words of Beleriand.
I can't believe I got it wrong. I'm so mad at
No
myself.
one got that
I
right.
feel mad at myself for that. I completely forgot.
You have to study your about the sun and the moon.
Damn it.
And Feanor. That's just because we hate him. All right. Thank you.
I think he was actually the most malicious of all elves at that point.
But it's not in the Silmarillion, so we can say it's the opposite.
Yeah. But in reality, he was kind of a dick.
Hi, Francisco.
He actually
You were
was a
here.
big dick.
Fran!
What's up, dude?
What up?
You guys, can you turn on your cameras to take a pic?
Oh,
Let me
wait for me 1 minute.
For the post of Instagram.
Let me
Get my book.
Okay.
I need to. Oh, wait for me to get my book.
I was gonna enter an hour ago, but I saw the button for start the meeting, so I thought so the meeting has not started. Maybe it is finished. I don't know what's happening. So I didn't enter.
So you were thinking for an hour.
Poor
I
excuse.
went away. I thought it was finished, so I went away.
Adri. Oh.
Wait. I mean,
Best book ever.
Wow.
It has Numenorian dancing birds.
What is that, Marco?
By
Da
default,
and
that's
el?
the best Tolkien book.
Da or an el or two el Silmarillions?
Two of them. One is not enough for me.
Never enough. Okay, we are full screen.
One for each eye.
Say Fingolfin because you can smile.
Fingolfin forever.
Wait, where is Barrel Rider?
I think he's sleeping.
¿Se fue?
I think he left.
Marco, sí se fue.
You see? I can hear him.
Beat.
Thank you.
No, thanks, Gerald.
Thanks.